I'm so grateful because we are keeping time. Everyone has been excellent on this one part. This is always a joy to invite one of my mentors and the person who is responsible for putting this vision into action, called Centonomy. That is our founder and the current chair of the board. She's also an entrepreneurial coach and author. She's done so many different things, and is putting together this content in a way that entrepreneurs can be able to absorb it, to be able to take it through. So Waceke, if you're somewhere in this group, I'm trying to see if I can get you. Great. On my screen, it wasn't coming up. How are you doing, Sheke?
Good.
I don't know if you're like me. How is your notebook? Is it full already?
It's full. And Wadaka, I have gripes about speaking last, because speaking last, you're like, Joanne has said everything I wanted to say. Terian has said everything. Oh, Derek, that was my point also. Wahoo, that was my point. So first, let me start by thanking all our speakers. They've just done such an amazing job. And it's going to be a tough act to follow. And just welcome everybody. Welcome. Thank you for spending Saturday morning. Is it Saturday? Yes, it is. In this day and age, sometimes you lose track of.
You don't know what day it is.
You lose track of which day is it. But thank you guys for joining us for this conversation at a time such as now. And as I was figuring out what do I come and share, especially in this time, I think I'm just in that season where I'm thinking about positioning a lot. And I think never have entrepreneurs been called to step up as they are being called to now, and understand their positioning. I don't know whose mic is on. Maybe
sorry. Some of them are coming on like that. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, So never have entrepreneurs been called to step up and understand what is the role, what is your role. So I think I learned this, and when I go through COVID, it's hard. It's hard for every business, but I feel like I've gone through it before in terms of the hardship of the business, in terms of what do I do next, in terms of being in that season. Of course, COVID itself is very different, but it's almost like we've gone through these hard times before. I remember after my first business closed down, which was in 2009, there's a moment I just stayed home, and it just reminded me of this. At that time, I was watching TV and binging seriously, but I think in the back burner, something was percolating. So please note, even this time when things may look a bit slower, it is never a waste of time, and it is important to take a beat. And today I want to encourage you to use that beat to understand positioning. And there are 4 things I want you to understand: why you are in business, why you do what you do, who you are, because how we define ourselves is going to be very critical for us to move forward, what you're willing to go through. We've already tested it a bit now, but it's going to be, there's a lot we're going to go through as entrepreneurs. And again, what's in it for others? In Centonomy, we like calling this value proposition. So first, let me start with the why. And this is not even about why are you doing the specific business you're in, whether you're a hairdresser, whether you're in events, whether you're in training, whether you're in food, whether you're in textiles. It's not the why of the business as well, but why are you doing it? Because I think we have to connect with this so deeply to get through this and other things that are coming along the way. Money is, yes, we all want to make money. And even words like people say, why? Because I'm passionate about it. Yes, those are good things, but it's not enough. Passion is a fuel, but what is the vehicle about? In the first class of the Centonomy Entrepreneur, we make you draw this vehicle so you can totally understand what your business is about. And let me tell you, there's a difference between a Probox and a Subaru or a Range Rover. They all move from A to B, correct? But they exist for different reasons. The Probox, because you've seen them on the road going very quickly. It could be efficient and economical transport very quickly. But a Range Rover, even though it may be moving from A to B, that's not the reason it exists. It exists for status, for luxury, for comfort. So both are cars, but their reason is different. What is your why? We've been having a lot of interactions with people in the hairdressing industry. And we did a webinar with them a couple of weeks ago. And you could tell the people who are caught unprepared, because for them it had always been about the money, it had always been about the routine. And you could tell the people who it was deeper for them. And when Wahoo was talking, I felt like that for her, where they were like, okay, but how do we still continue pleasing our customers? So there's this whole group of hairdressers that had done nothing, but there was this whole group of hairdressers that had reached out to their customers, started offering online support, started making appointments with their customers. Those are very two different levels of operation. So we've got to go to that level. We moved quickly, and Waceke was sharing the story how we were affected immediately. That announcement was made on Sunday. It meant that on Tuesday, when we do the entrepreneurship class in the morning, we had to have a different alternative. So we had one day in between to move online. Why did we do it? It could have been easy to say, hey, let's take a breath. We don't know what's going to happen. Let's tell our customers, let's wait. But our why does not allow us to do that. Our why is about, let's shift people so that they can create wealth. So this does not stop. The reason does not stop because of external circumstances. When you have a deep purpose and a deep why, external circumstances may change how you do things, but they don't change the fact that you're going to do them anyway. So you have to be in a business where you can connect with a why, because it allows you to see, because you don't give yourself an option. For us, there was no option. It was not, will we run classes? It was, classes are going to run. And I've been seeing the comments on chats. Yes, Centonomy is going to continue online classes. We've taken that feedback on board, yeah? So this leads businesses to start seeing differences. And in that seminar was in the hairdressers, what some of them started understanding, even as they come out of this, there could be a whole new business line, because there's a crop of customers who prefer doing their hair at home, and they like the convenience at home. Maybe they don't like on Saturday or during the week having to move up and down to go to a hairdresser. So when you do have a why, it opens your eyes to see what the opportunity is about. Because whenever there is difficulty, there's a reason behind it. And this difficulty is there for you to start understanding, what is your positioning? Is your new positioning like that hairdresser who's going to start doing hair from home? Yeah. In class, we have, in fact, just this last week, it was our last entrepreneurship class, we were doing this conversation on whys. And when we dug deep into the whys, it was, people came out and said, I want to live, I feel this is the way I will live my best life. So this why is about you. I feel this is the way I will live a legacy. This is the way I'm going to give my kids a better life than the one I had. Yeah. So just take, even today afternoon, when this conversation is still fresh, what's your why? Not the why that other people have told you to have. So the whys that don't work are the one where it's only about money, where it's other people, whether it's other people's expectations, whether it's what your father said or what your friend said, even the whys that are not working right now, even shareholders don't even work right now. You have to find a deeper motivation, and that's a first step in positioning yourself, yeah? Because what you do has to be in line with a deeper motivation. And what we are finding, those businesses that were not anchored by that deeper motivation, they may not find a place in the next step of this entrepreneurship journey and the entrepreneurship cycle, the way it's going to look like. The second one is, who are you? Whenever I go for talks and there's an MC or someone who's introducing me, they read my CV and they say all these sorts of things about, yeah, business, entrepreneurship, coach, etc., etc. Sometimes they even name my degrees, yeah. And sometimes I feel so unrelated to those definitions, because for me, I'm a student of life. I observe things, and then I sometimes put those lessons in the context of my job, which is money, which is business. I can look at a tree, and from that tree, I can come up with a story of how to explain money. There's an article I once wrote about ants, what we can learn from ants about our money. So, but being a student allows me to observe not just things outside of me, but things in me, and understand what am I bringing to the table. It is so important that you understand that. And it is hard for us entrepreneurs. You know why? Because nobody is ever cheering us on. Yeah, you're the one, when your team do well, you're there clapping for them. You're there saying, well done. Rarely does it come back to you. So you have to make extra effort to start noting down and understanding what you are doing well. You may be an event manager and you've defined yourself broadly as an event manager, but there are thousands of event managers or caterers or hairdressers or personal finance trainers. We've got to go deeper than that. You've got to start saying things. I'm creative, I'm good at numbers, I'm organized, I'm a good listener, and then using that to position you. So start to understand going forward, yeah, there's competition, yes, face value. But there's no competition to you as a human being. So if you're one of those people who are creative, instead of doing a proposal or a tender in the way that everybody else is going to do it, how can you use your creativity so that you stand out? And then how do you change? Maybe you are told meet here and in a certain place. How do you change that so you meet at a place where it's your creativity that actually comes out? So we've got to start understanding ourselves so well so that we can create the environment. Nobody is creating the environment for us. We are not waiting for the government. We are not waiting for policies. We are not waiting for banks to get their act together, because there is no time, guys. Yeah. We have to be the ones who are creating that environment. So what do you have, and how are you going to make that table that you are going to sit on? Do not wait for things to be advertised. Even now, as we're saying, our client stopped this and that, it's time for us to use what we know, even about that same client, to understand what problem can I help them with. By understanding this, I have a friend who does events, which of course has been disrupted because people are not having events. But when she spoke to the client, she realized during this thing of work from home, they do need a way of putting teams together to excel. Isn't that an event? It says that it's going to be done differently. So she's now doing it on Skype for them, and then brings certain things to the table, even organizes for things to be delivered to certain people so that they can create that kind of experience. That is what is called now knowing your customer and reaching out, using what you know about yourself and what you can do, and reaching out and becoming a problem solver. Please do not wait for customers to tell you, this is what I need. We've got to be the ones we have to be like their doctors and understand what they need. So even as you start saying, this is what I have, we have to also look at ourselves through the eyes of humility. Usually you don't come with everything, yeah? So also admit, this is what I can't do, and this is who I need to partner with, or this is who I need to hire. And I think going forward, you will find yourself partnering with the least likely, because our industries are changing so fast. You might find yourselves partnering with the least likely of people. We never thought we'd be sitting somewhere and then doing a chat like this specifically for the hairdresser industry. Now there's another I'm being called for travel agents industry. So the partners we thought traditionally for our kind of business were partners like banks and big corporates, but we're now realizing our partners are so much more than we actually envisioned. When you look at yourself and your business in this new multidimensional light, because it has to be a multidimensional perspective going forward, who are your partners and who are your clients? Yeah. And when you are good at something and when you've done something, don't be afraid to talk about it. Yeah. It is not boasting. Yeah. Because you're saying, this is what I am good at, because we are all in business and we are all different human beings, because we are there to be the best at something. This is the time for that best to actually shine and that best to come out. So if you have a customer who can say good things about you, use it. Yeah. And you earn the right along the way to start telling people, hey, no, I've earned my stripes. This is what I am really good at. And because I'm really good at it, this is what I am going to price it at. And also start, as you do build that traction, you can't be mediocre and expect you're going to get good prices. As you do build that traction, you will now be able to say, no, I am not going to take that price, or I'm not going to do that job. I will actually do this, because we also need to start focusing on the right thing and the right people. Who are you also to test is, how do you define your business? In 2018, we redefined our business. Before, we would have said we are a training company. And I tell you, if COVID had caught us with the wrong definition, Centonomy we would have been waiting for the minister to tell us we can go back to the office and we can go back into training rooms if we defined ourselves as a training company. But in 2018, we redefined ourselves as a content company, because when we dig deeper into what we do, it is content. This is content. We are very good at taking the concepts of money, taking the concepts of business, taking the concepts of career, and making them relatable to people. Yeah, and giving them that experience that transforms their relationships with any of those things. And then once we did content, we understood, oh, content is also YouTube, content is articles, content is so many other things, content is books. I came out after that definition is when I wrote a book, because before I thought I was a trainer. So I only looked at myself as a trainer. But when your definition grows, you're like, training is one of the ways of delivering content, but so is a book. So is what we are doing now. And online, at least caught us when we knew we were all about content. You could be in a business that does business cards. We use this example in the Centonomy entrepreneur class. And we challenge people and say, you're not in the business of printing business cards. That's one of the things you do. You're in branding. Yeah. Now, when you now define yourself as branding, you could be doing websites, you could be doing posters, you could be doing flyers, you could be doing social media positioning. My friends, once she stopped saying I'm an event company and said I provide experiences, all she had to think about in this time was, what is the different way of delivering the experience? So anything that you find too generic, I'm in printing, I'm in training, I'm in catering, I'm in events, I want to challenge you to just take a step and think. Everything I'm telling you today about, you will need to take a beat and think, what business am I actually in? Are you in hairdressing or are you in beauty? Yeah. Or are you could be in hairdressing, but maybe you're more in customer experience. Maybe you're more in cuts. Yeah. I have a friend who's so good with styling and cuts, but he has now realized that going forward, he wants to teach, because the opportunity is bigger when he becomes the teacher of many, rather than one by one at the salon waiting to actually do hair. So what business are you actually in? And let's understand, a lot of us here are what we consider ourselves SMEs. And I know the world calls us SME, yeah, ourselves included, but let them call us what they want to call us. But I want in your head to understand who you are. And I love this story. And this story has really, really been in my spirit this season, the story of David and Goliath. Goliath was big, but he was heavy. Yeah, David was small, but he was light. People think the underdog was David, and they think that story is so great because the underdog beat the big dog. I don't see it that way. David was never the underdog. He just had different weapons. Yeah, he had that sling. And then he had that experience as he was with the sheep of killing the lion with his bare hands, yeah? So it was not things that the Goliaths could see, because the Goliaths were only seeing how many are you, how big are you, and what is the armor that you have. And he actually even refused to wear the armor when he was given. So, because it was too heavy. So there are a lot of Goliaths that have taken over time. And there could be a Goliath that you think that is your competition, but I want you to start seeing, remove the David in you. Your weapons could be small, but because you had a smaller team, you are willing, you could work with this offline work very, very quickly. I know big companies today that are still struggling to figure out 2 months later, to figure out how to get their teams to work from home, while some of us are like, we don't even know whether we're ever going back to the office, as many people have been saying today. I remember there's a Goliath who was coming to ask us to do some things online with them at the beginning of this season. And I challenged my team and said, why do we need them? Let's ask ourselves clearly, why do we need them? And they've never made the decision, but between that time, we have done so many online things. We've engaged with tens and thousands of people online. Had we been waiting for Goliath because of the mentality that it is only a Goliath that can sponsor, can do blah, 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 would never have done half the things we're doing. So do not fear Goliath. Look for the David in you, and some of the things that you have gone through, the hardships, the failures over time is exactly what has positioned you for the next step. I think my failure in my first business is exactly what positioned me to start Centonomy. Third, not last. What are you willing to go through? Yes, we are all going through COVID, but let's go through it not by complaining and not by thinking about ourselves as victims. Let us go through COVID understanding, because every hardship has a place to play in our lives. Let us go through COVID to understand, what is this doing for me? What is this doing for my business? Because it is always a muscle. Hardship is always a muscle. And I think we are getting super training. It's like the master of all personal trainers has come to train this muscle for all of us. Because if we can get through this, when we get through this, there's very little that can shake us. And I think we are being positioned, we are being strengthened internally and externally, so that as we go forward, this is not the last thing that is going to happen. It could be politics, it could be money. So it's going to come, the challenges are going to come. But let's even celebrate this, because we're getting super training. And I've learned that the things you do, like what is some of the things that's working for us in our business, is what we did a long time ago. We started connecting with customers a long time ago. We started offering a product a long time ago. We started doing things like chats. We have taken these chats online, but we started doing them a while ago. So what will work for you tomorrow or a month from now, even this thing of we're saying when we come out of this or go back, although I don't really think there's going back, what will work for you is what you are doing now. So how are you positioning for tomorrow? How are you improving yourself for tomorrow? What are you changing in your business for tomorrow? Because it's not about just surviving. Do what you have to do to survive and put food on the table. But this lesson is not about pure survival. It's about thriving. So how are you positioning? What do you need to learn? Yeah. And learning always implies change. A lot of us are learning things that we should have done. This is how we should have kept money. This is how we should have had personal savings. Yeah. Read a book, take a class, take Centonomy. We're learning about adaptability in one way or another. All of us are being forced to adapt. And it's like water. You can put water in this mug, yeah, and it will take a certain shape. But if I bring another jug or any other shape, the same water, I'll pour it into that container and it will take that shape. But water remains water. So what do you need to change? I've been writing articles, as a lot of you know, in the paper for a very, very long time. Yeah. But this last month, from April, I've been doing this series on every Friday called Making Sense Conversations. Now, I know there's a place for articles, but I'm also starting to see, so I adapted the same content I would use to write a weekly column in a newspaper, a traditional newspaper. It's pretty much the content I'm now doing online and live every Friday at 2 p.m. I have had in the last 4 weeks, over 10,000 people who've tuned in to watch that. So I'm also now it's using a different skill set. Every time I go there, it's different sitting quietly and writing an article, and it's very different talking to people on a Facebook live chat and answering questions and comments as we go along. But I'm now asking myself, this same time, this same intellectual resource, where can it go? Yeah, there may be a place for traditional articles or maybe not. And there could be a place for blogs that reach all over the world. Today, we have people from all over the world here. So now my brain is switching to, how do I reach more people like that? And the answer could be traditional articles did their season and the season has now changed. Yeah. So what does that adaptability, that's one example that I am seeing I need to adapt. What does that adaptability mean for you? How does your business change? How do you change? How does the way you see things change? Yeah. Joanne talked about this a lot, about how we're going to have to think about how our structures vary differently, who we need, what is the talent that you need in this time. Yeah. What does, the talent could be completely different. And for those of you who are now looking even for jobs, how do I position my skills to the new talent that is required by the businesses in this forum. Yeah. And we're going to have to learn too, as I've said before, how do I bring in other people to help me on this journey? And then lastly, what's in it for others? Because business, in fact, any wealth creation journey, and at Centonomy Entrepreneur, we do believe we're doing all this so that your business can become a vehicle that creates wealth for you. Business is about people. There is no business that goes to do business with another business. The people in Centonomy go and do business with the people in PMS. Yeah, so Centonomy and PMS know each other, but it's people in a business that have a relationship with the people in another business. Yeah, so the aspect of people and that's what I'm calling what's in it for others that you're doing this is it's so important that we become conscious about it, because brand, and you must build a brand. Brand is a culmination of the experiences people have with your business. People, a logo doesn't get you a brand. Facebook posts don't get you a brand. It's the experience that people have with your business and have that experience consistently. And who are these people? It's been mentioned, and Wahoo talked about it so passionately and so well. Your team, yeah, your team. First of all, it's you. Yeah, but then there's also your team. They're the immediate face of your brand. So does your team reflect that same why that you had in the beginning? If your why was to leave a legacy, if your why was to empower people, does your team and the way you treat your team reflect that why? Because if you don't treat your team that way, they're not going to treat your customers that way. So be very conscious about your team. Companies are losing teams not right now, some of them, not because they don't have money, because some companies still have money to pay people. It's because that when this moved, it became very obvious that if you're not doing a job exactly how it was supposed to be done, we don't really care about you. So the new business we are going into, it's about people. Remember, you are the entrepreneur, you founded it, but you do not want to be the only entrepreneur in your business. You want to build a team of people who are entrepreneurially minded so that they become problem solvers and hold this business so close to heart like their own business. Yeah, so that they're all getting value. And those are the cultures that are going to take businesses forward. Cultures where people go to work and feel like they're living dead, 8 to 5, and that they can't wait to get out of there at 5 o'clock. They don't put anything extra. They're just waiting for a paycheck. That is dead. It is over. That way of operating is finished and it is dead. Yeah. So if we have to be very conscious about culture. Are people growing? Are they thriving? Are they challenged? It doesn't mean coddling people. Are they challenged? And then get the right people for that. It's the customer. What are we giving the customer? Once you are customer focused, you will see opportunity in many places, but it's not just about opportunity. It's because you genuinely care about the customer that we are all facing, whether your customer is a big organization, whether your customer is an individual, is a customer that is more conscious about spending, which means the work for us is connecting more. We have to connect to really what the customer needs. When you have a headache and you go to a pharmacy, you don't order a vitamin, you order a painkiller. Although we know vitamins are nice, over the long term, we'll take vitamins for underlying health and all that. But when I have a migraine or a bad headache, I just want to go and get my painkiller. Are you a painkiller for your customer or are you a vitamin? In this time and age, we need to be painkillers because that's when you're solving real problems. Yeah. And pain can be in different ways. Like what Wahoo was saying as she was describing in our online classes, I was like, that's a pain you had that maybe you were oblivious to before COVID. That on our Saturday morning, I really, instead of commuting for 1 hour to the class, I'd really like to get up and be a place where my kids at least know mommy is around. You see, so an online class is a painkiller for that. Yeah. So let's do more work. And in the class, we take you through questions and how to actually have these conversations with customers, because we do understand the customer is going to be the heart going forward. It's going to be the heart, just the same way you are somebody else's customer. The other people could be investors. Even the kind of investors, as you're looking for money, is not just about the money. Money is important, but please do not make the mistake of just someone saying, here's 1 million shillings, here's 10 million shillings, 50 million shillings, let me become an investor in your business. Too many businesses are struggling because they had the investor came with the wrong motive. So even that, what is the why for the investor? Are they going to be part of something bigger? Do you want them to offer more than just money? Are those communications clear? What do we like each other? Do we have chemistry? Some of the people involved indirectly could be your family. Yeah. So what's in it for your family in this business going forward? A lot of people have been saying this working from home has been great for their family life. So even how they run their business going forward, this is something that they don't want to compromise going forward, and they're restructuring it. So just to end, I'll just say, guys, let us all believe. Let us remove the definition of SME, the definition of I'm a one-man shop, the definition of I'm a side hustler, the definition that I'm a struggler, I'm just a. Let us start imagining and seeing what we could be. I believe we have all a part to play in a bigger narrative, especially now. This is a time for buy Kenya, build Kenya, position Kenya. And can we please step up as entrepreneurs? All of us in listening on Facebook Live, inside the chat itself, we all have experiences that positioned you specifically for something. Take a beat and understand that positioning. And I'll just repeat why you are doing what you do, who you are, your new definition going forward, what you're willing to go through, what you're willing to invest, time, learning, bringing other people, being adaptable, the pain of circumstances like this. And lastly, what's in it for others. It's all about people. Thank you so much.
Wow, Waceke. As always, excellent. And the responses, you cannot believe coming through. This is Bright saying, wow, I guess I haven't asked myself the question, why? And that's an important thing. That's really deep. I really love Sheke, always so deep. A student of life. That's a great definition of who you are. And what's my why? Redefine your business. And this is really timely. This is the one that has stood out. I've seen a couple of comments coming through both on Facebook and here on Zoom as well.
Yeah.
Avoid generic business definitions. That one was very important. Be clear about what it is that you're doing, and that idea of redefining yourself. There are a couple of things, Sheke, that were being said here, and this was our experience. I remember, in as much as yes, our shift was immediate. I love that you said that we had been preparing. We had already been talking to our consultant since last year about what is an online space going to look like. We had been thinking through it.
Yeah.
Maybe we had not yet gotten that push to move online, but we had been setting that stage for such a shift. And that's what we need to be doing at all stages.
Absolutely.
How have you been preparing yourself for those shifts? What are the tools that you have used to prepare yourself? Because we know shifts are coming. How do you keep on the ball like that, Sheke?
I think it's okay. You want this from a personal perspective?
Yes, please.
Okay. My answer is so simple. I hope people are not like Sheke is going to unleash a whole spreadsheet here. But over time, and I think Waceke, you know this because I've talked to you about it a lot. I take a lot of time to think. Yeah. And even in the class, we make people spend 30 minutes a day working on the business. So I think it is so important for you as an entrepreneur. There's every day you go and do your suppliers, dealing with your customers, dealing with your team, the day-to-day things that are very important and keep the business going. But you need to take time to start thinking. And when you take that time to start thinking, you start seeing things very differently. You start observing. You know, it's very easy for me to read the newspaper when I'm in the midst of day-to-day. But when I sit quietly, I'll remember something that was in that paper and I was like, hiya, the government was talking about this. How do we actually position for that? Yeah. So taking time for things. So me, for a long time, Mondays especially has been my key time for thinking. So I've done that, and I've journaled. I journal a lot. So when I'm thinking, I'm just not thinking, I'm actually writing it down. And guys, let me just tell you one thing that was so profound with me. And I was sharing this when we were celebrating our 10-year anniversary last year. In 2009, I wrote in my journal, there are a couple of things. I just started Centonomy, that this business will run without me. I just wrote it as I was in this thinking. I was like, the way this business should go, it should actually be able to run without me. In 2018, I resigned as CEO. But I had written that almost, 9 years ago? Yeah. And when I wrote it down, I think I became very intentional about it. So very intentional about the systems, very intentional about structures, and very intentional in plugging into places that we needed to learn. So I did go for a couple of courses, even as Centonomy, we did go for that Stanford seed that Joanne was talking about, very intentional about plugging into information, practical information that we can use going forward. So in the nutshell, that is it. Take time to think and write it down, and then start acting on it. Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's like we're in class at this point, and that's what the class experience is like. I think what I love about this session is that it actually gives you that real-time feedback. I think what's only missing is that you don't have the workbook and the worksheets with you at home for you to be able to do that, which we usually send during the class. So at Centonomy, we run this program called the Centonomy Entrepreneur, and it is designed to help entrepreneurs build great businesses. The thinking, the thought process that you've been hearing from each one of the entrepreneurs speaking today is what we teach in the class. Understanding your why is one of the biggest things that we start off with at the very beginning. And you can see on your screen a list of the modules that are there. So we start off with that, understanding your why, the why for your business, the why for yourself. And we begin to interrogate that. And as Waceke has said, we make it practical. If we say it is important to think about your business on a regular basis, then it's part of the works, the actual activities that you're required to do during that week is take half an hour just to think about your business. Then we also do that whole idea of design thinking. Some people are wondering, what is that wallet, and how does it relate to my business? We just take a product like a wallet, and we get you to design it for yourself and take it to your customers, potential customers, and the customers give you feedback. Then what you begin to realize is that it is so important then, therefore, to also listen to what your customers are and design a product or a service based on what they need. You heard Wahoo talking about this thing of fear. We have to address it as entrepreneurs, because if you're being driven by fear, then it's difficult for you to move forward. And in every business, and that's what is keeping businesses alive at this point, it is putting together a structure and a strategy that will help you to move through. And you heard us talking with Wahoo there about there's the deliberate strategy, which you think you're going to go through beginning of 2020 before COVID-19 happened. And then there's the emergent strategy, when new things come up, and it's not always bad things. Sometimes it's some new innovation that will come that can completely shift your business positively as well. We go through marketing with a special focus on digital marketing, because I mean, this is exactly what we're doing right now, and the whole world is thinking about that space. And then we get into the money classes. The money classes, working capital. How do you keep the cash flows moving through your business? Then we have accounting, and we split the accounting class into two, and we're not making you accountants. No, these money classes are not, these are not professional classes. We don't want an entrepreneur to become an accountant, no. But we want you as an entrepreneur to be able to look at your accounts and know what they mean for your business. And so we do that in this time. We also talk about raising capital. How do you relate to investors? What's the best relationship you can look for? Do you need a certain type of investor for your type of business? We discuss that in raising capital. We also have the business and financial planning session, especially around that area of taxation. And then we have the legal classes, which helps you think through the legal issues within your business, your relationship with your clients, your relationship with your employees, the legal ramifications of what you're doing, what Wahoo was talking about. Can I be running my business at a time like this? And we talk about it in that space. Should I register my business as a sole proprietor, or should I do a partnership, limited liability company? Those are the kind of things we discuss there. And then we come back to the money again, because money is key. In business, we have the second part of the accounting. But what you'll notice about Centonomy, we have a huge focus on you, the entrepreneur. How do we become an abundant entrepreneur? Because many times we limit ourselves within our market, within our city, within our country. What is it that is in it for you? That question that Waceke asked for. And then we also spend some time in networking and graduation. Please remember that these classes are all taught by industry experts. But one of the criteria that we've gone for the classes that are being taught is that don't just be an expert. Don't just be an expert. You also need to be an entrepreneur, because the journey of entrepreneurship is not that easy. We don't want theory. We want something that has worked for you. So when you hear Waceke speaking, when you hear myself speaking as a trainer, both of us have started and run businesses. And so the trainers as well, yes, they're an expert in marketing, but they also have run a business. Yes, they're an expert in tax, but they're also running their own tax consultancy. So that the aspects that they're bringing for you in the class are transformational. So the classes, we believe, for the sake of convenience and also to help you out, they run 3 times in a week. We have a Tuesday morning class and a Saturday morning class. The classes run from 9 to 12 p.m. And then a Wednesday evening class from 6 to 9 p.m. That's East African time. For those who are not within the East African region, we can be able to share with you those timings within your regions. We are requesting at this time that you pay a registration fee of 2,200 shillings, and then the rest of the fees in 3 easy monthly installments of only 15,000 shillings per month, and that will be starting the first week of June. And what's amazing is that we have a 20% lockdown discount. So this is a great time for you to be sitting and thinking through your business. The class begins, as I said, on the first week of June. That first week of June, I believe it's the 2nd of June. That is the Tuesday that's there. But this is the time to begin to think through how to build your business. I've seen a couple of questions coming on there from some alumni who are actually in this session as well. We're inviting you back as alumni. You can reach out to Ruby and she'll assist you on how you can be able to plug into some of those classes that you'd like to retake. Please, as alumni, you can also do that. But the encouragement to you is right now, this is the time to build great businesses that are going to shift your thinking. As we promised, we'll have a bit of time for question and answer. Right now, we've gone a little bit over the time, but I really want you to think through how you're going to invest to grow your business. Even those who are thinking about their business, there was a question I saw earlier about what's the advice for those who have yet to start. You know, as the world has shifted, you're also beginning to shift and think, I want to start a business. This is a great class for you to begin to come into and to begin to process that, to see how entrepreneurs think. So as I said, the class starts on the first week of June, on the 2nd of June, that Tuesday, and we have 3 class options. Remember this, you're only required to come in for 1 class per week. So you can either take the Tuesday morning, Wednesday evening, or Saturday morning. And say, for instance, you know, life happens, Tuesday, something happened, your business, you needed to be out, and you can't attend that class for whatever reason it is, you're very welcome to come in on that Wednesday evening or that Saturday. Or if there's a wedding happening, oh my, we can't go out for weddings. But anyway, God willing, we'll be there. And something is happening on Saturday, you're more than welcome to actually plan to come in on the Tuesday or Wednesday. This is for your convenience. Let me say why we're speaking about this like this. You've been in this session now for about 2 hours or so, great insights, great things that have come through. But the practical application of what you're hearing now, the application to your business and how that works, the wealth of knowledge of all the expert trainers that we mentioned, that is where that real transformation happens. So these sessions, yes, we love to have them for free and online, and we'll continue to do that. But for you who is a purposeful entrepreneur, you need to make that choice and get into the class. So I'm inviting you to do so, and we're inviting you to come in, and we'd love to have you there. As we said, the fees and the payment plans are available there on the screen. Please contact Ruby. As you can see at the bottom of your screen there, ruby@centonomy.com, and her number is there as well. She'll help you through this process. So I'd like to just take a couple of questions if there are. I'll invite all the speakers who are part of us. You can switch on your microphone and your camera so people can see you. I'm just going through some of the questions and the comments that have been going on. People are just so excited. Sheke, thank you so much for all the things that you've been talking about there. There was a question, though, that I wrote down that I wanted just to highlight here. Annie was talking about funding. Annie asked a question about funding. During this COVID time, where in the world can I be able to get funding at a time like this?
I guess what has happened is it's the same. The sources of funding have not changed, and in any business, the funding comes from. And I think our trainer in this class goes through this very well. At what stage of business, what funding works for you? The first stage is always family, friends, and they even call them fools, because when you're in a startup and nobody knows what you're doing, they do that. And then there's the banks, and then there's what they call the private equity funds, which are institutional investors who have come together and are out to give funding to various businesses. So it has not changed as such, but what may have changed is the liquidity for this kind of funding right now. But what I'd advise everyone to answer, I think, we keep talking, all the speakers interestingly were talking about this. This is the time to start looking what the season we are going into, what is going to be the next sources of funding. There are many businesses who have gone after that private equity kind of funding, whatever, and it has not worked. So I think before you look at the funding, ask yourself, what am I funding? And work on that. Because what is going to be very important is proof of concept, and development of that business plan. And then as we go, we're going to start seeing, I think, a lot of different types of people willing to fund different things. I think you'll see a lot of high net worth individual investors coming out to say, yes, I can help in this. I think even places that we don't consider, like chamas. A lot of chamas are also now starting to have those kind of discussions and saying, can we fund businesses? So that might be the viable thing. It's looking at SACCOs, maybe not so much traditional banks, but also SACCOs. But develop your proof of concept first.
All right. Charlene Biwot, are you there? Put your mic on, Charlene. Can you hear us? Just talk to us, Charlene. Are you there? Hi, Charlene. There was a question that came through here. Let me see if I can get her on. But Sheke, Charlene is asking, is Centonomy Entrepreneur course online? Would really love to join with my friends who are far away as well. I think some of the business partners have been separated by all the lockdowns that are there. So is it available online? How do we do it as well?
I think Waceke, you've answered that. Centonomy is online. So wherever you are in the world, and even today we've got a lot of people who are not necessarily in Nairobi or even Kenya, you can actually register for Centonomy and do it from wherever you are. So it is possible. And it's great, Charlene, that you want to do this with your business partners, because yes, if you do have partners, come both of you or the three of you so that you're all on the same page.
That's great. Sheke, I think you also had a copy of the workbook. You can show them the workbook that we usually have as well during the session. And so it's quite a detailed book, which has notes and activities that are within it as well.
So this is the workbook that you'll get. So this is the cover, and it has notes for all the classes. As you can see, these are the modules that Waceke has pretty much taken you through. And then each module will have exercises and things that the trainer is actually taking you through. So both the presentation and additional notes will actually be in the workbook for you to actually use as you go along. And of course, if there's any extra that we want to give you in between, you will also get that via email.
Great. So I'm just looking through. If you have a question and you're on the Zoom platform, you can be able to raise your hand. If you're on Facebook, you can just type the question quickly in the comments just now. And then you can be able to do what it is that you're doing. If you can raise your hand, we can take your question. I'm just looking through some of the ones that are coming through on this platform that is here. Some of the books. Sheke, this is a question, I guess, and even Joanne, I think you're still here, and Wahoo as well. What are some of the 5 books that you would recommend somebody, to read, especially around this area of entrepreneurship? I think I can answer one for me that I've been reading recently. It's a book called Good to Great. Let me just get the name of the author. I forgot his name, but it's Good to Great. Jim Collins, that's the one. Thank you very much. And it's quite transformational for me, just thinking about business on a much larger scale than that. Do you have any yourself, Sheke? Joanne,
Yeah, I think you'll
share
also
that
get
one.
the other people to say their book.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
what
right.
they are
That's
reading
right.
now. Thank you for
That's right.
everybody who has also said Making Sense is a great read and has helped them. So for all of you who also do want to get my book Making Sense, you can also get it. But the book I'm interestingly reading now is called David and Goliath by written by Malcolm Gladwell, and he's done so many cases on businesses and the unobvious things that they used.
Yeah.
And these businesses are businesses like the ones in this room that went a step further in identifying what do they have as Davids, and then they go out and they beat the Goliaths using that. So I'd really encourage you, if you want to redefine how you see yourself, this is also a great book, David and Goliath, Malcolm Gladwell. Yeah.
Great. As we were saying, the 20% lockdown discount, I mean, we understand this is a difficult time for businesses across the board. And that's why we've done so across all our products and our programs. And it's during this time when there's a lot of uncertainty, many businesses might be struggling and wanting to know what is next. So as far as we know right now, and remember, this is one of the things in business that you're going to do. Right now, we can only see as far as maybe June. We don't know what's going to happen in September and the rest of the classes that are going through. And so my request to you is take advantage of this as you can be able to do so. That was a question on that. We've got Eunice. Eunice, you've raised your hand, so I'm going to get you there. Hi, Eunice.
Hi everyone.
Ask your question, please.
Thank you so much, Rebecca, for this. You're a great moderator. So I have a question to all the speakers. This is a great morning. I am so grateful. My question to you all is, when you were starting your businesses, how did you leverage on your social capital?
Maybe Wahoo, you're there. You can be able to respond to that. Social capital. How did you get your friends and relatives to get on this?
Well, me, I just basically bullied everybody. But for me, first of all, I think for me to be able to even leverage on my social capital, it was important for me to be my own first consumer. Do I believe my own hype? Do I believe what it is that I'm selling? Because once I begin to do that, then I emit, is the word emit? I exude it, right? I become, it sort of weaves into conversation easily. Now I'm speaking specifically for my hair and beauty business. Once I believed in it and why I'm doing it and all that, it sort of weaves into conversation. And so it becomes something that is easy for others to buy into. So the first place obviously was, yes, my friends, my family, let them all know that we are here. And then after that, sort of went out to see, can I get to the second tier, which is the friends of my friends? How do I move into that circle? So I get my friends and my family to be my ambassadors, but they have to believe in the product. So it was important for me to first believe in the hype. This is not just any other business. It's not just any other salon. What are we selling? What are we doing? We want to create experiences so that I can then, and then we are also not badly priced. So I want to believe that, share that with my first tier, my friends and family, get them to buy into it, and then share that with my second tier.
Wonderful, wonderful. I see Joanne, you're also still around. Joanne, if you're there, you can also respond. And before you go, Wahoo, what books are you reading at this point? I think we didn't get from you as well.
Okay. So for me, I am studying 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Because it's one thing to do something, it's another thing to be effective at it. And it's so important for me to be effective in everything that I'm doing. This book is by Stephen Covey, and it is such a gem. And you can apply it in any aspect of your life, whether it's your business, whether it's your family, whether it's even raising your kids. So that's the book I'm not just reading it, I'm studying it.
Very good. And isn't that the thing? I mean, even like when we're talking about it in the Centonomy entrepreneur class, even that time that is part of the activities for thinking is also time for learning. I think the idea is that it's not, look, in as much as the course is brilliant, it's not all knowledge is in this one program. It sets you up to build your knowledge over time. Terry-Ann, what for you during this time? First of all, what book is it that you're reading? And then you can also respond to the question that we got earlier on. Joanne, what book are you reading? Oh, is your mic mute? Sorry, you're on mute. Sorry. Go ahead.
All right. Thanks. So as you can see, I read quite a bit. Everybody in my house is a reader, because we pick such incredible gems of knowledge from people. So I read quite a bit. I like David and Goliath that Waceke was just talking about. I have it as well. But I came across a number of, and I just want to show, I don't know if you can. It's called The Essentials. And it's a HBR, it's from the Harvard Business Review. And what they do, they put together a collection of the articles and then publish it into a book. And there are quite a number of them. I think I have about 3, one on emotional intelligence, another on women in business.
Yep.
And it's such, I mean, if you know the Harvard Business Review articles, it's really something that, we all need to subscribe to, because every morning you get great ideas on just, enduring ideas on management, which is what this book is about. But I'm also big on motivation. So I read a couple of books on motivation. And one of the ones that I have always been recommending, at least in the last 1 year, it's called The Motivation Manifesto. I have it somewhere here. It's by Brendan Burchard. It's a really, really good book. And, in times like this, we need to keep ourselves, motivated. And sometimes when motivation fails, and we go to discipline, but it's always good to stick with, to stay motivated. And then the question on
social capital, how did you build
on social capital? Yes. So I think, your first customers is your social circle. And for me, that's, that was the first thing I did. When I started selling, for instance, care organics, it was either from the boot of my car or my house. So when my guests came, I said, oh, by the way, I started this thing, would you buy, or would you take and test? So social capital is important, and especially in the digital platforms as well, that then give us an opportunity to expand our social capital. That's also a great place to make sure you're constantly, putting whatever it is that you're doing out there.
Excellent. And that's wonderful. Joanne, I know you're also listening, maybe not on video, but maybe you can mention a book and how you've leveraged your social capital to build your business.
Thank you very much. Sorry, guys, I can't put my video on. There's a lot of things happening behind the scenes. This working from home manenos.
We understand.
I'll tell you guys, first and foremost, there's a lot of business books to read, but you learn from life also, not just from business books. So I would say one of the things that I find very interesting to read is articles on entrepreneurship. There's a publication available online called Entrepreneurship. And when you read case studies, people's other stories, it's really amazing because you'll always learn something. I mean, today listening to Terian, to Wahoo, to Waceke, to Derek, I'm learning. It's amazing. And you never stop learning. You have to be a permanent student. Otherwise, you will not grow. But my point on the book is going to be different. I will say that as you read all these heavy books, also read some light books. So I already mentioned Who Moved My Cheese? That's a very interesting book and small. You read it in a day, you're done. And then also read other books that are about business, but are not business self-help group books. So, for example, I find that when you read for a book like Gideon's Spies, it's about espionage and the Mossad. You learn a lot about how they structure and how they think about things. And that thinking, the stealth thinking, is what you need in business, because you always have to be ahead of the curve. And you can't be ahead of the curve if you're not being stealthy about what you're doing. And your mission and what it is that drives you, what makes you feel that this is what I should do, like Waceke said, will be what will show you the gems that you pick from that. Another classic that I like to mention to everybody is 48 Laws of Power. If you haven't read 48 Laws of Power, please read it. Yes. It helps you in all your negotiations. And not every law will apply to you, but you will find laws there that just speak to you. For example, for me, one of the laws that I love in that book is that you must always meet the other person's need so that you can have yours met. So everybody is selfish. So if I give you, it has to be a win-win. So I give you what you want in order for me to get what I want. So if I'm not seeing what it is that you want, if I don't know what you want or what you're getting, then it's a problem. So start from fulfilling somebody else's need, then you get your need fulfilled. So just to give a simple example, for those of you who say, I want Joanne to be my mentor, I mean, what are you giving me? And for me, the one thing you need to give me, first and foremost, is to make me feel good by telling me how awesome I am. Please do not ever underestimate the power of compliments. Number two is that you tell me that you think I'm good at what I am in this particular sphere, and therefore you need my advice. Believe you me, flattery takes you everywhere. And when you do those kind of things, what I do is that even if it was a subject I wasn't particularly interested in, I'll even read up on it for you. And then I apply my knowledge and my experience and exposure, and then we are able to synthesize it together and you get far. So just use the laws of power. They work every time. Thank you very much.
Wow. One of them, and we recommend it during the class, that I love and I usually work through, is a book by a gentleman called Kevin Cruz. And it's, I believe it's the 15 things successful people know about time management. 15 things successful people know about time management. And what it did for me is that it really began to show that there are certain small things about how you manage your time. One of the tools that we use, in fact, we even use it in the class, this idea of to-do lists. I don't know if you've ever started the day with a to-do list and you get to number 2 out of 10, 15 things. By the end of the day, your number 2 doesn't work. So he suggests for successful people, rather than saying a to-do list, if it's important to you, schedule it. Put it in your diary and say between 9 and 12 on a Saturday, I'm going for this Centonomy talk. You see, because you scheduled it, you're able to get through that talk. So it's one of those tools. So guys, we are really out of time right now. And I'm just so grateful to each one of you speakers. Thank you so much, Joanne. Thank you so much, Terian. Wahoo, thank you so much. Derek, is Derek still here? I've been unable to get a hold of Derek. Derek, if you don't mind, why don't you just get onto the video as well so people can see you. We are so grateful for your amazing insights at the very beginning and your inspirational talk. Do you have some final words to encourage people as we go, Derek?
Mine is to have faith, work hard, and give it your all. Give it your all. Yeah.
Excellent. Always great with the communication. Wahoo's final words?
All right. So thank you so much, Centonomy, for arranging this. Thank you for everybody who stayed with us throughout. I think mine is to reiterate what Waceke said at some point. Please, guys, really outline your why. Why are you doing what you're doing? It will give you the energy even when you don't have energy, why you're doing it. And like she said, let the why be bigger than the money, right? Let the why mean something to somebody else other than just yourself. Asante sana.
Very good. Terian, final words?
I'll keep mine very brief. First of all, thank you so much for organizing this. It was really great to listen to Wahoo, who of course I'm a big fan as well, Joanne, Derek, who I haven't met before, but you really inspired me today, Waceke as usual, and yourself, Waidaka. And I guess my final word is, do not let a good crisis go to waste.
Wow. As always, great communication there. Joanne, any words to encourage people before you go?
I just want to say, for everybody to know that this is I don't know, the 10th start for you, but it is a first start again. You're starting afresh. So everyone who's starting now, just remember you're starting afresh. We have cleaned the slate. It is tabula rasa. So write your best future. Write your best future. We all have a start. We're all restarting. Thank you very much. And it's been a pleasure. Awesome panel, I must say. Awesome panel. Thank you for putting it together, and great catching up with my girlfriends on the panel, as well as Derek. Derek, pleasure to meet you. You're a brave man, the only man on the panel, our moderator. And you did great.
I was wondering, you left me out there for a second. Thank you. Now, Sheke, some words before you go?
First, I just want to thank, first of all, everybody who tuned in and spent time with us today morning. And thank you for using your Saturday morning this way and with us. I want to say thank you to our speakers, Derek, Joanne, who I've continued to have so many conversations on this entrepreneurship journey with. Thank you so much, Derian. Thank you so much, Wahoo. Thank you so much, Waithaka, for moderating us. And I think for me, I'm going to take my inspiration and last words for a Bible verse that is currently speaking to me in this season. It comes from Isaiah, which is telling us, forget the former things and see the new thing. So let's put our eyes in the right place and let us, and it's a different journey for all of us, but let's see the new thing in whatever it is that we're doing and who we are.
That's right.
Yeah.
Guys, this program that we're talking about, the Centonomy Entrepreneur, will shift the way you think about your business and how we grow. And we must begin to become producers, not just in Kenya, not just in Africa, around the world. Each country is now beginning to see the importance of producing products internally, of being able to source for services internally. And that opportunity is open now. There are things that you can do now that you probably couldn't do before. And may God help us that this crisis ends soon, but this crisis could also be a huge opportunity for where you are. It's how you take it. I encourage you to sign up for the class today. We'll be just leaving this on for a little bit, but we'll be closing the chat box and also the other discussions along the way. Thank you to everybody who tuned in on Facebook. We are so grateful for your time and the wonderful comments that you've been leaving there for us as well, and all those who came into the Zoom class. It is time to take action. It's not just about listening to good stories, good examples that other people are. It doesn't help. I mean, like you can study swimming. You can read every book about swimming. You can do all those things, but until you get in the water, you'll never learn how to swim. So we're encouraging you, get into the water, come and learn. Let's become entrepreneurs and become business owners and become producers here in Africa. God bless you all from Centonomy. We are so grateful. We're so excited about our classes that are starting that first week of June. You can check us out on our website as well, centonomy.com. We've got lots of material there, and all our social media platforms, there's material to help you in this time. So God bless you all. Thank you so much. And we'll see you guys in class first week of June. See you guys.